The woman lying in that hospital bed had survived betrayal, poverty, humiliation, and heartbreak. Yet the battle that would eventually take her life was the one nobody saw coming. Beside her sat two men. One was the son she had sacrificed everything for. The other was the husband who loved her more than she ever believed possible. Both were praying. Both were hoping. Both were terrified. Because they knew something the doctors had not yet said out loud. Time was running out. But how did it come to this? How did a woman who fought so hard for everyone else end up fighting for her own life? To understand that, we have to go back several years. Back to the day Amara walked away from the house she helped build. The evening sun was beginning to disappear when Amara stepped through the gate. In one hand she held her young son, Tobi. In the other hand she carried a small travel bag. Everything she owned now fit inside that bag. The rest remained behind. The furniture, the memories, the sacrifices, the dreams, the future she thought she was building. All of it stayed behind those walls. For a moment she stopped walking. She turned around, looked at the house one final time, and felt her heart break all over again. That house had not appeared by magic. She remembered the days she bought cement, the days she paid workers, the days she skipped her own needs so construction could continue. She remembered every sacrifice, every contribution, every sleepless night. And now she was living with nothing. No apology, no explanation, no justice, just pain. Tears rolled down her cheeks. But nobody came after her. Nobody called her back. Nobody stopped her from leaving. The gate remained closed. And so did the hearts of the people behind it. Slowly she turned away. Then she kept walking. The first few months were the hardest months of her life. Finding a place to stay was difficult. Money disappeared faster than she had to be paid. Food had to be bought. Transport cost money. Life did not pause because her marriage had collapsed. And every responsibility rested on her shoulders. There was no husband helping. No one sharing the burden. No one asking if she was okay. There was only Amara. And a little boy depending on her. So she worked. She worked harder than she ever had before. Sometimes she left home before sunrise. Sometimes she returned long after dark. Some nights her legs hurt so badly she could barely walk. Other nights she fell asleep without eating. Because there simply wasn't enough time. Or enough energy. But every morning she got up again. Not because she was strong. Because she had no choice. One afternoon she received a message from Tobi's school. Outstanding school fees. Payment required immediately. Failure to pay would result in the child being sent home. Amara stared at the message for several minutes. Then she opened her account balance. The amount available wasn't enough. Not even close. That evening she sat alone counting money. Again. And again. And again. As if somehow the amount would increase. It never did. She looked at the small pile of cash on the table and felt helpless. Not for herself. For Tobi. Because no mother wants to explain to her child why he cannot attend school. The next morning she took on another extra shift. Then another. And another. She pushed herself beyond exhaustion. Eventually she gathered enough money. Barely enough. But enough. When she paid the fees, she felt relief. A relief that lasted only a few weeks. Because life wasn't finished testing her. One evening Tobi came home looking unusually tired. His face felt warm. His eyes looked weak. By midnight he was running a high fever. Amara rushed him to the hospital. As she sat beside his bed watching nurses move around him, fear gripped her heart. The little money she had struggled to save disappeared quickly. Consultation fees, tests, medication, more bills, more expenses. When she finally left the hospital, most of her savings were gone. The school fees crisis had barely ended. Now another financial battle had begun. Yet somehow she kept going. Day after day. Week after week. Month after month. People around her noticed her struggle. Unfortunately, people also talked. Neighbors whispered whenever she passed. Some pretended to sympathize. Others enjoyed the gossip. Isn't that the woman who was building that big house? I heard her husband threw her out. I heard another woman replaced her. I heard she lost everything. The rumors spread quickly. Faster than the truth. And every time she heard them, a small part of her hurt. Not because strangers were talking, but because many of them had once celebrated her success. Now they discussed her failure. Still, Amara remained silent. Arguing would not change anything. So she focused on the only thing that mattered. Her son. As Tobi grew older, he became more aware of the world around him. And with awareness came questions. One afternoon he returned from school unusually quiet. He greeted his mother, dropped his bag, and disappeared into his room. Immediately Amara sensed something was wrong. Later that evening she sat beside him. What happened? At first he said nothing. Then finally he spoke. Some boys were asking questions. What questions? Tobi looked down. They asked me where my father is. Amara felt her chest tighten. The room suddenly felt smaller. They asked why he never comes to school events. Tobi swallowed hard. They asked if he abandoned us. For a moment Amara couldn't speak. Because she knew those questions had hurt him deeply. Tobi stared at the floor. Then quietly asked the question she feared most. Mom, why doesn't my father want me? Immediately she pulled him into her arms. No. Her voice broke. No, my son. He doesn't hate you. Then why isn't he here? Tears filled her eyes. Because some questions have answers no child should ever hear. She held him tightly. You are loved. By who? A tear rolled down her cheek. By me. She kissed his forehead. And as long as I'm alive, you will never be alone. That night, after Tobi fell asleep, Amara cried quietly. Not because of what the children said, but because she knew there would be more questions in the future. More confusion. More pain. More moments when her son would wonder why his father chose not to be part of his life. And once again, she made herself a promise. No matter how difficult life became, she would never stop fighting for him. What Amara did not know was that life was about to send someone into her world. Someone who would change both her life and Tobi's life forever. For a long time, Amara didn't notice him. And even if she had noticed him, she probably wouldn't have cared. Love was no longer something she was looking for. The last time she trusted someone completely, she lost almost everything. So she focused on work. She focused on paying bills. She focused on raising Tobi. And she focused on surviving. That was enough. Or at least she told herself it was enough. Daniel first entered her life quietly. No grand entrance. No dramatic moment. Just a simple introduction through mutual acquaintances. At first it was simply another face. Another person. Nothing more. But unlike most people, Daniel paid attention. Not to her appearance. Not to the gossip surrounding her. Not to the rumors people repeated. He paid attention to her character. He noticed the way she walked. The way she carried responsibility. The way she always put Tobi first. And the more he observed her, the more he admired her. One afternoon, Amara was struggling with several heavy bags after work. Before she could refuse, Daniel appeared. "Let me help. I can manage." "I know you can." She looked surprised. "But that doesn't mean you should do everything alone." For a moment she didn't know what to say. Most people saw her as strong. Very few people saw how tired she was. Daniel picked up the bags and walked beside her. No flirting. No pressure. No hidden agenda. Just kindness. The encounter stayed in her mind longer than she expected. Because genuine kindness had become rare in her life. Weeks passed. Then months. Daniel remained consistent. When he said he would call, he called. When he promised something, he delivered. When he offered help, he never expected anything in return. At first Amara became suspicious. She kept waiting for the mask to fall. She kept waiting for him to reveal his true intentions. Because experience had taught her that people rarely stay good forever. Yet Daniel remained the same. Month after month. Slowly, something unusual began happening. Trust. A tiny amount at first. Then a little more. Then a little more. One Saturday afternoon, Tobi met Daniel properly for the first time. The meeting was simple. No pressure. No expectations. Just a conversation. Daniel quickly discovered that Tobi loved football. And unfortunately for both of them, they supported rival teams. That became the beginning of countless arguments. Playful arguments. The kind that ended in laughter. The kind children remember years later. As weeks passed, Tobi began looking forward to seeing Daniel. And Daniel genuinely enjoyed spending time with him. Not because he was trying to impress Amara, but because he genuinely cared. One day, Tobi returned from school carrying a certificate. He had finished among the top students in his class. Amara celebrated him immediately. But Daniel's reaction surprised her. The man looked as proud as if the boy were his own son. He congratulated him, encouraged him, praised his hard work. And later that evening, Tobi could not stop smiling. When Amara noticed, something happened inside her heart. Something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Months later, Daniel attended one of Tobi's school activities. Nothing special. Just a regular school event. But while other children sat beside their fathers, Tobi no longer looked uncomfortable. For the first time, he wasn't sitting alone. For the first time, someone showed up. Someone stayed. Someone cared. That night, after dinner, Tobi surprised his mother. "Mom." "Yes. I like Daniel." Amara smiled. "You do?" Tobi nodded immediately. "He's a good man." The words seemed simple, but they carried enormous weight. Because Tobi didn't trust people easily. If he trusted Daniel, it meant Daniel had earned it. And Daniel had. One evening, after a long day at work, Amara sat outside watching the sunset. The sky glowed orange and gold. The air felt calm. For once, life felt peaceful. Daniel sat beside her. Neither of them spoke immediately. The silence felt comfortable. Then Daniel finally asked a question. "What are you most afraid of?" Amara laughed softly. "You really want to know?" "Yes." For a few moments she stared at the horizon. Then she answered honestly. "I'm afraid of trusting someone and losing everything again." Daniel didn't interrupt. He didn't rush to reassure her. He simply listened. And somehow that meant more than words. Because understanding doesn't always sound like advice. Sometimes it sounds like silence. As the months continued, Daniel slowly became part of their lives. Not because he forced his way in. Because he earned his place there. One day, after years of carrying everything alone, Amara finally admitted something to herself. She was happy. Not pretend happy. Not temporary happy. Truly happy. The kind of happiness she thought she had lost forever. And that realization frightened her. Because happiness meant hope. And hope could be dangerous. Hope could be taken away. Just like everything else. Yet despite her fears, her heart continued moving toward Daniel. Eventually, the day came when he spoke the words she never expected to hear again. Amara, I love you. The words seemed to stop. Not because she hadn't imagined it. Because she had. Many times. But hearing it out loud made it real. Daniel looked directly into her eyes. I know you've been hurt. She remained silent. I know you don't trust easily. Still silent. I know you're afraid. A tear formed in her eye. But I am willing to spend the rest of my life proving that you don't have to face everything alone. The words broke through the final wall around her heart. And for the first time in many years, Amara allowed herself to believe in love again. Months later, Daniel proposed. This time things were different. Everything was done properly. Families met. Traditions were respected. Blessings were received. The bride price was paid. And on her wedding day, Amara looked radiant. Not because of the dress. Not because of the decorations. Not because of the celebration. Because she looked at peace. The fear she had carried for years seemed lighter. The pain seemed further away. And as she stood beside Daniel, she allowed herself to imagine a future again. A beautiful future. A peaceful future. A future filled with love. What she didn't know was that another battle was already waiting. A battle neither she nor Daniel could see. And unlike every struggle she had faced before, this one would slowly break her heart from the inside out. The first year of marriage felt almost perfect. For the first time in many years, Amara experienced peace. Real peace. The kind of peace that allows a person to sleep through the night. The kind of peace that makes a house feel like a home. The kind of peace she once thought she would never experience again. Daniel remained exactly the same man she married. Kind. Patient. Dependable. Loving. Nothing about him changed. If anything, he became even more devoted. And every day, Amara found new reasons to be grateful. Tobi was thriving. Work was stable. The marriage was healthy. Life finally seemed fair. Then the questions started. Small questions at first. Questions people asked casually. Questions they thought were harmless. When are we hearing good news? When will the baby come? When are you giving Daniel a child? Amara would smile politely, laugh softly, and give the same answer. God's time is the best. At first she truly believed it. There was no pressure, no fear, no anxiety. There was still plenty of time. Or so she thought. The second year passed. No pregnancy. The third year passed. Still nothing. Now the questions sounded different. Less playful. More serious. More frequent. Every wedding. Every family gathering. Every church service. Someone always asked. And each question left a mark. A small mark at first. Then a larger one. Then another. Until eventually those marks became wounds. One evening Amara sat alone in the bedroom. The lights were off. The room was quiet. Daniel walked in and immediately noticed something was wrong. She had been staring at the same spot for several minutes. Lost in thought. What happened? She forced a smile. Nothing. Daniel sat beside her. It's not nothing. For a moment she remained silent. Then she whispered, "What if it never happens?" Daniel understood immediately. He moved closer. "What if what never happens?" She looked away. "What if I can't have another child?" The words finally escaped. The fear she had hidden for months was now sitting openly between them. Daniel gently held her hand. "We don't know that. But what if it's true?" Daniel looked directly into her eyes. "Then we will face it together." Amara nodded. But deep inside, fear had already taken root. Soon the hospital visits began. At first the doctors sounded optimistic. More tests. More appointments. More waiting. Everything looked normal. Everything seemed promising. But month after month, the outcome remained the same. Nothing. Every month began with hope and ended with disappointment. The cycle became exhausting. Emotionally exhausting. Mentally exhausting. Spiritually exhausting. Sometimes Amara imagined what the future would look like. She imagined holding a baby. She imagined Daniel smiling. She imagined Tobi becoming a protective older brother. Then reality arrived. And the dream disappeared again. One afternoon, she stood in a store looking at baby clothes. Tiny shoes. Tiny socks. Tiny blankets. For several minutes she simply stared. Imagining. Dreaming. Hoping. Then tears filled her eyes. Quietly she walked away. Because none of those things belonged to her. At least not yet. As the years continued, the pressure grew. Advice came from every direction. Friends recommended specialists. Family members recommended prayer houses. Neighbors recommended traditional remedies. Everybody had an opinion. Everybody had a solution. Everybody thought they understood. But nobody understood the weight she carried. Nobody understood what it felt like to pray for something every night and never receive it. Nobody understood what it felt like to smile while your heart was breaking. Daniel tried everything he could. He encouraged her, comforted her, prayed with her, supported her. Whenever she cried, he was there. Whenever she doubted herself, he reminded her she was loved. Whenever she blamed herself, he refused to let her continue. But even the strongest support cannot completely remove private pain. And much of Amara's pain was private. Many nights she cried alone. Many nights she sat awake after everyone else had gone to sleep. Many nights she asked questions nobody could answer. Why? Why her? Why now? Why after everything she had survived? Hadn't she suffered enough already? Hadn't she sacrificed enough already? One evening she returned home from another hospital appointment carrying a medical report. Daniel was waiting. Immediately he noticed her expression. Without speaking, she handed him the paper. He glanced at it. Then quietly placed it aside. The report wasn't what mattered. She was. Daniel moved closer. For several moments neither of them spoke. Then suddenly Amara broke down. Years of disappointment poured out at once. The tears would not stop. The pain would not stop. The frustration would not stop. And finally she whispered the words she had been carrying for years. "I'm sorry." Daniel immediately shook his head. "No. I'm sorry. No." Her voice trembled. "I wanted to give you a child." Daniel squeezed her hands. "You don't owe me a child. But you deserve one." "No." The tears continued falling. "I wanted to make you happy." Daniel looked directly into her eyes. "Amara." She couldn't look back. "Look at me." Slowly she raised her head. "I married you because I wanted you." A tear rolled down her cheek. Daniel continued. "I didn't marry you because of what you could give me. Another silence. I married you because I love you. The room became quiet. And if I had to choose again? His voice softened. I would still choose you. Amara cried harder. Because she believed him. Every word. And somehow that made the pain even deeper. Because she desperately wanted to give something back to the man who had given her everything. What neither of them realized was that years of emotional stress were slowly taking a toll on Amara. At first the signs seemed small. A little fatigue. A little weakness. A little exhaustion. Nothing serious. Nothing alarming. But over time, the symptoms became impossible to ignore. And soon, the battle that had begun inside her heart would start affecting her body. In ways nobody expected. And once that happened, everything would change. At first, Amara ignored the signs. She told herself she was simply tired. After all, she had been carrying emotional pain for years. Anyone would be exhausted. Anyone would feel drained. Anyone would struggle after everything she had been through. So she kept going. Just as she always had. When her body felt weak, she pushed through. When she felt exhausted, she pushed through. When she felt unwell, she pushed through. That was what she had always done. Fight. Survive. Endure. But this time was different. This time her body was fighting a battle her determination could not win. The fatigue became worse. The headaches became more frequent. Her appetite changed. Her energy disappeared. Some mornings she struggled to get out of bed. Other mornings she forced herself up simply because people depended on her. Daniel noticed first. One evening he found her sitting alone in the living room. The television was on. But she wasn't watching it. She looked exhausted. Completely exhausted. Daniel sat beside her. You need to rest. Amara smiled weakly. I'll be fine. You've been saying that for months. She looked away. Because deep down she knew he was right. The next few weeks brought more hospital visits. More tests. More waiting. More uncertainty. The answers never seemed clear enough. And the waiting slowly became unbearable. One afternoon, Tobi came home and found his mother sleeping in the middle of the day. That had never happened before. Not his mother. Not the woman who spent years working herself to exhaustion. The sight frightened him. And for the first time, he began worrying in a way he never had before. Mom. Amara opened her eyes. You're home. Are you okay? She smiled. The same smile she always used whenever she wanted people to stop worrying. I'm fine. But Tobi wasn't convinced. Neither was Daniel. As the months passed, the woman who had always been the strongest person in the room became quieter. Weaker. More withdrawn. The change was impossible to ignore. Then came the day everything changed. It happened without warning. One moment Amara was standing. The next moment she collapsed. Daniel's heart nearly stopped. Tobi rushed toward her. Panic filled the house. Within hours she was in the hospital. Doctors moved quickly. Tests were ordered. Machines surrounded her. And suddenly the reality everyone had been avoiding became impossible to ignore. This was serious. Very serious. Days passed. The hospital became their second home. Daniel spent most of his time beside her bed. Sometimes he held her hand. Sometimes he prayed. Sometimes he simply sat there in silence. Refusing to leave. Refusing to imagine life without her. Tobi was struggling too. Every time he entered the hospital room, he forced himself to smile. He wanted her to see strength. Not fear. But the truth was he was terrified. The thought of losing his mother felt impossible. She had always been there. Through every victory. Through every failure. Through every difficult moment of his life. She was his constant. His safe place. His home. And now she was lying in a hospital bed, fighting for her life. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Aduni was experiencing a different kind of pain. Years earlier, he had believed he was making the right choice. He had chosen the woman his mother wanted. He had chosen pride over love. He had chosen convenience over loyalty. And for a while, he convinced himself he was happy. But happiness never came. Arguments replaced peace. Bitterness replaced affection. Regret slowly replaced satisfaction. The marriage became a battlefield. The woman he had chosen over Amara eventually became a source of constant conflict. Then one day, after a particularly serious argument, she packed her belongings. She gathered her 3 children. And she left. The silence that followed was overwhelming. The house suddenly felt empty. In many years, Aduni was alone. Truly alone. As if life wasn't finished teaching him lessons, another tragedy followed. His mother became seriously ill. The same woman whose opinions had influenced so many decisions. The same woman who had fought so hard against Amara. The same woman who had helped create the division in the family. Age had finally caught up with her. And eventually, she passed away. The funeral came and went. The visitors left. The sympathy faded. And Aduni found himself sitting alone in a house filled with memories. That was when he started thinking about Tobi. His son. His only son. The son he barely knew. The son he had allowed to grow up without him. For years he had convinced himself there would always be time. Time to reconnect. Time to apologize. Time to explain. But now he wasn't sure. So he began searching. Making calls. Asking questions. Trying to find a way back into his son's life. Eventually, he found a phone number. The number belonged to Tobi. His hands trembled as he dialed. His heart pounded. The phone rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then someone answered. Hello. For a moment Aduni couldn't speak. Years of regret sat heavily in his chest. Finally he whispered. Tobi. Silence. Who is this? Aduni swallowed hard. It's me. A long pause followed. Then Tobi understood. Immediately, painful memories came rushing back. The years without a father. The tears he had seen his mother cry. The struggles she had endured alone. The sacrifices she had made. Aduni began speaking. Trying to explain. Trying to apologize. Trying to repair decades of damage. But some wounds are too old. Some absences are too long. Some apologies arrive too late. Tobi, I'm sorry. Silence. I know I made mistakes. Silence. I want a chance to make things right. Finally Tobi spoke. His voice was calm. Painfully calm. Where were you when my mother needed help? Aduni had no answer. Where were you when she was suffering? No answer. Where were you when I needed a father? The silence became unbearable. Then Tobi said the words that would haunt Aduni forever. The only father I know is Daniel. A tear rolled down Aduni's face. But Tobi continued. The only father I know is the man who stayed. Every word felt like a judgment. Every word felt deserved. Then came the final sentence. The sentence that ended everything. Please don't contact me again. The line went dead. And with it, the last chance at reconciliation disappeared. Back at the hospital, another ending was approaching. One far more painful. And deep down, everyone could feel it. Even before the doctor said a word. even before reality fully arrived. They knew. The fight was almost over. The hospital room felt different that morning. Quieter. Heavier. As if the walls themselves understood what was coming. The doctors still came and went. The nurses still checked the machines. People still spoke words of encouragement. But hope no longer felt as strong as it once had. Even the prayers sounded different. More desperate. More emotional. More urgent. Daniel sat beside Amara's bed holding her hand. He had barely slept. His eyes were tired. His face carried the weight of weeks spent worrying. Yet he refused to leave her side. Every time she opened her eyes, he wanted to be there. Every single time. Tobi was there too. No longer the little boy she once carried away from that house. He was now a grown man. A man she had sacrificed everything to raise. A man she was proud of. A man who was desperately trying not to fall apart. But the fear was obvious. He could feel it. Daniel could feel it. And perhaps Amara could feel it too. Late that evening, Amara slowly opened her eyes. The room was quiet. For a moment she simply looked around. As though she was memorizing everything. Then her gaze settled on Tobi. A faint smile appeared on her face. The same smile that had comforted him throughout his childhood. Tobi. Immediately he stood. "I'm here, Mom." Her voice was weak. Very weak. But every word carried meaning. "Come closer." He moved beside her bed. Amara reached for his hand. The same hand she once held while crossing busy roads. The same hand she held during school registrations. The same hand she held when life became difficult. Now that hand felt larger than hers. Stronger than hers. Time had moved so quickly. For several moments she simply held it. Then she smiled softly. "You've become a good man." Tobi immediately felt tears fill his eyes. "Mom." Amara squeezed his hand gently. "No." Her voice trembled. "Let me talk." The room became silent. "I used to pray every night." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I prayed that one day you would become a man of integrity." Another pause. "A man with kindness." Another pause. "A man with character." Her eyes filled with emotion. "And God answered my prayers." Tobi could no longer hold back his tears. Because somehow those words felt different. They felt final. Like a goodbye hidden inside a blessing. Amara smiled again. A weak smile. But a genuine one. "You made every sacrifice worth it." Those words shattered him. Because no son ever feels ready to hear something like that. No son ever feels ready to lose his mother. For a while neither of them spoke. They simply held each other's hands. Sharing a moment neither would ever forget. Then Amara slowly turned toward Daniel. The love in her eyes was unmistakable. Years earlier she had believed men like Daniel didn't exist. Years earlier she had believed kindness always came with conditions. Years earlier she had stopped believing in second chances. Yet somehow he had changed all of that. Daniel moved closer. His hand trembling. His eyes already wet with tears. Amara looked at him. Really looked at him. As though she was trying to memorize his face. Then she smiled. A smile filled with gratitude. "Thank you." Daniel immediately shook his head. Unable to speak. Unable to accept where this conversation was heading. Amara continued. "You gave me happiness." Daniel lowered his head. Tears falling freely now. "You gave my son a father." His shoulders shook. "You gave me peace." The room became silent again. Then she whispered something that nearly broke him completely. "You loved me when I didn't know how to be loved." Daniel covered his face. trying to control his emotions, failing completely. Because there are moments in life when strength disappears. This was one of those moments. Amara reached for his hand, and Daniel held it immediately. As though letting go would change something. As though letting go would make everything real. For a long time nobody spoke. The room was filled only with tears. Then Amara looked at both of them. The two men she loved most in the world. And suddenly she seemed peaceful. Not afraid. Not angry. Not bitter. Peaceful. The battles were over. The struggles were over. The fighting was over. For the first time in her life, she no longer had to carry everyone else. And perhaps she knew it. A few hours later, her breathing became weaker. The machines continued their steady rhythm. Daniel held one hand. Tobi held the other. Neither of them wanted to let go. Neither of them were ready. But life rarely asks if we are ready. Slowly. Very slowly. Amara's eyes closed. The room became quiet. Then quieter. Then silent. And just like that, the woman who had survived betrayal, poverty, heartbreak, rejection, humiliation, loneliness, and disappointment was gone. Daniel broke down immediately. Years of love poured out in a single moment. The pain was unbearable. The disbelief was overwhelming. The woman who had transformed his life was gone. Tobi collapsed into tears. Not the tears of a child. The tears of a man losing the person he loved most. His protector. His guide. His safe place. His mother. The funeral brought hundreds of people together. Friends came. Neighbors came. Relatives came. Even people who hadn't seen Amara for years came. Everyone seemed to have a story. Everyone seemed to remember her kindness. Everyone seemed to remember her strength. As people spoke about her life, one truth became clear. Amara had touched more lives than she ever realized. The woman who once thought she had lost everything had actually left behind something far greater. A legacy. After the funeral, life continued. But it never felt the same. Daniel returned to an empty house. The silence became his constant companion. Every room reminded him of her. The kitchen reminded him of her laughter. The living room reminded him of their conversations. Even the smallest things brought back memories. Sometimes he caught himself reaching for his phone to call her, only to remember she was gone. Sometimes he woke up expecting to see her beside him, only to remember reality. Grief became a daily battle. A battle he fought quietly. Meanwhile, Tobi carried his mother's lessons with him everywhere he went. Her strength, her wisdom, her sacrifices, her love. Everything she had poured into him continued living through him. And whenever life became difficult, he remembered her words. You are loved. As for Aduni, life gave him something he could never escape. Regret. The house remained. The land remained. The property remained. But none of those things brought peace. Because peace cannot be bought. Peace cannot be inherited. Peace cannot be stolen. The woman he abandoned was gone forever. His son wanted nothing to do with him. The family he once had existed only in memories. Many nights he sat alone thinking about the choices he made. Thinking about the life he could have had. Thinking about the family he destroyed. And every memory carried the same painful lesson. Some opportunities only come once. Some mistakes cannot be repaired. Some apologies arrive too late. And sometimes, the greatest punishment is not losing everything. The greatest punishment is living long enough to understand exactly what you lost. By the time Aduni understood the value of Amara, she was already gone. Forever. But her story remained. A story of sacrifice. A story of resilience. A story of unconditional love. Because in the end, Amara never became rich. She never got justice for everything she lost. She never received back all the years taken from her. But she achieved something far greater. She raised a good son. She experienced true love. And she left this world knowing she mattered. Knowing she was loved. Knowing she had fought a good fight. And sometimes, that is the greatest victory of all. The end.